I'm so glad I held the elevator for her. My daughter, Cameron, and my granddaughter, Sloan, were with me the other day as we were checking out of our hotel in California. Now, that's a hotel in California, not the Hotel California, you understand. I mean, the one where you can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. Eagles fans, right? Anyway, we were finishing our family vacation, and this woman was now in the elevator with us with her bags, and I noticed a bag tag that had a Delta Airlines logo on it, and so I was making small talk and said, "Oh, so you must be from the East Coast, right?" And she said yes, she was, that she lived in Durham, North Carolina, but was moving to California to be closer to her elderly parents, and she was taking a job as one of the deans of the Kaiser Medical School. I learned that she taught at both UNC and at Duke, which led to further conversations about our relationship to Duke Divinity School, and it turns out she just sold her home in Durham to a new faculty member in church history at the Divinity School. So small world, right? Anyway, Lori Carter Edwards is, it turns out, get this, an epidemiologist. She's a public health expert. And she spent the last few years working on the COVID-19 pandemic. She even started a faith network in North Carolina in order to address the need for vaccinations, contact tracing, and masking through what she said are those traditionally trusted cultural entities. The church. I was happy that she thought they were trusted. Right? We talked about our disappointment with the way people have been treating this virus. So much of it boils down to a focus on rights versus responsibilities, self versus neighbor, individual versus community. So she gave an example. She said, you know, here's the way it is. If you're at a ski resort and you come upon a part of the mountain where there's signs that say, don't go here, danger, and you decide that you know better and will exercise your personal freedom and put yourself at risk, and you go there anyway, and then predictably what happens, right? You fall and you get hurt, and what do? We don't just leave you there. We marshal all the emergency crews necessary to go find you and rescue you and tend to your needs and care flight you to a clinic or a hospital and mend you and put you in a hospital bed and get all the medical personnel to tend to you as well and eat up hospital costs and increase everybody's insurance because of it, and more than that, even divert needed medical personnel and resources that should have been employed elsewhere, but for your personal freedom. This is the situation we find ourselves in today with COVID in this country, and we are all paying for it. It's always the situation, and the church finds ourselves in it too. And I can't tell you how frustrated I am by that. So let me practice what Paul is saying to us in this regard, because God knows I need to be kind. And all right, so first, I want to tell you the truth and be transparent about COVID cases occurring in and around our church. This is hard for me to do for two reasons. First, because I hate going backwards in our protocols and giving any of you more reason not to come to church. And second, because I think we've done the contact tracing necessary to inform people enough who have been exposed, but nothing seems to be enough these days. So here's more. 4 people this week have contracted the virus at church or church activities. We believe it is contained to them, and none of them has been hospitalized, but there it is. Now you know. Now, next, about my anger. I confess that I spend almost every day trying to figure out the justification for half of the American population still not being vaccinated. And I know in my own extended family there are a few unvaccinated due to certain medical conditions, which I do understand, others not so much. But for the most part, we have a continuing crisis of people who think they are bulletproof. They are not vulnerable. Where they'd rather die than be told by the government that they should do something. How about this? It's not about you. It's about protecting your neighbor. Saved people save people. Don't talk to me about evangelism if you won't even walk across the street to take a vaccine to save somebody else's life. Paul says here that we are members of one another, and he's not just talking about church members. He uses the word neighbors. He's talking about the wider society, and that includes people we otherwise don't agree with. As Dr. King once said, we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied together in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Or as G.K. Chesterton put it, we are all in the same boat on a stormy sea, and we owe one another a terrible loyalty.